I journey on to Bingara. In 1838, 28 Aboriginal people were killed near here, the last chapter in a 2-week killing spree by white settlers known as the Bush Bash to eliminate the Kamilaroi and Waweri people. Len Payne dug up hinges from the stockyard gates where his mate Sess Wall told him the massacre took place. He tells me Myall Creek Station in 1838 was Hobbs, the station manager, some ex-convict hands, a couple of slab huts, and the Waweri people.
Was all that, yeah, see, they've dammed the area, which means that the whole of this surface is now new. And the huts could have been below this surface that they've utilised now to create a dam.
And they hid in this hut?
Well, they weren't expecting anything because they were living in such peaceful situation. They did not know anything of what was taking place out on the distant plains, that on the older original maps you'll still find them indicated as slaughterhouse plains. As well as Slaughterhouse Creek, there are Slaughterhouse Plains because it was over those plains that so much killing, wanton killing, took place. But that's a long, long way from here.
But that posse had, had roped them up using the rope.
Exactly.
What had they done with the?
They tied every. Oh yes, they tied everyone by the neck. Just tying the first one and then taking it to the next person, putting it round their neck in that way, and on to the next one. Now, if they didn't all go together, they choked each other. So that put them in the situation of having to accept and travel with that around their neck and on to the next.
Even the children?
Even the children who were big enough, accepting the tiny ones that toddled, holding onto their mothers.
And they walked across. They were dragged or taken away from the hut that was here.
Exactly, forcefully
over the
by the use of this thong affixed to the horses' shoulders.
Hobbs, the station manager, was away shifting cattle when the 13-man posse struck. He reported the murderers, including one of his own station hands, to Denny Day, the police magistrate at Muswellbrook, who collected enough evidence to bring the men to trial. Governor Gips, keen to put a stop to the continual massacres, supported the case, and 7 men were hung. But the squatters were outraged, and far from stopping the massacres, this trial just pushed them underground, the beginning of the subterranean agreement, the beginning of the Great Silence.
This way, down here. Now, there we have. That's the spot.
Look at this.
That's out of the wreath that Jim and I laid.
Really? How long ago was that?
Last June.
Right. So it's a poppy, a remembrance poppy.
Exactly.
So does this mark
that marks the spot,
gate?
which is the centre of the stockyard gate. This is where they were, one by one, told that they had the chance to escape. If they could get through this gateway, they'd be allowed to run free. Instead of which, with cutlasses, swords, axes, anything at all, they hacked them to pieces. So they all finished up in the gateway there, which is why I have used the expression that the ground was sodden with blood, because it really was.
And Len, why do you think it is that so many lies are told about this massacre and about those early days?
It is because we are not, as a people, prepared to face the responsibility. We are not prepared to say, yes, we did it, we should not have done it. And we must make whatever amends we possibly can. I am a criminal because I brought this to light. I'm the person they blamed because, in the words of those that accused me, you have now branded us in the face of all the rest of the world and we will never regain our position. And that position that they're talking of regaining was a false position. Oh, dreadful, dreadful beyond expression.
Keen for the people of Bingara to see the hinges and understand their significance, Len brings them into town in 1965.
Mr. Batterham, who was the news agency, was also the head of the Historical Society. So this is the position that the hinges were displayed with a big notice in front of it, and then he received threats that the window would be smashed and the place would be torn down if it wasn't taken out.
And so he took them out?
That's where it was. He had to. It was too upsetting. It was giving Bingara a bad name worldwide.
So, instead of the little town suffering a bad name, the local paper prints an article discrediting Len's find. It says the stockyard site was a dump, the hinges and gateposts are rubbish, and anyway, the massacre is best forgotten.
Lord of the far-flung battle line, beneath whose awful hand we hold dominion over palm and pine. Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget.
I'm travelling through Waweri land. The people are no more. The dreaming stories for these places, for this great rock, are lost.
The pathways and creation sites of the great ancestral spirits have faded from the mirror lake of mind and landscape and are lost.
We struggle to understand how land can be sacred. For most of us, it's always been just another commodity, available to the highest bidder.